Folks, we finally got the first balance patch for Street Fighter 6. I think a lot of people were very patiently waiting for this game to get shaken up a little bit. The usual suspect characters like JP, Luke, Ken have really been dominating the tier list since launch for many months at this point, so I think a lot of us are happy that things are getting shaken up a bit. But the main character here, the character who by far got the most nerfs, is JP. So we're gonna take a look. We're gonna discuss, are JP players gonna need to start filling out their job applications at McDonald's? Is it time to learn Chinese, buddy? I don't know. We'll take a look at his nerfs and discuss, is it enough to knock him out of that number 1, number 2 slot that most people consider him in? And then we'll take a look at the other characters that got lots of changes as well and discuss overall how I feel about the balance patch. So let's start looking at JP. Okay, so right off the bat, JP's normals have been nerfed. This, I think, was one of the things that people had a problem with JP. That, yeah, like, it's expected that he's going to be a really good zoning character. He's going to be keeping the opponent out. He's going to be annoying you with projectiles. That's what the character's made for. But also, he had many of the best normals in the game as well. So up close and at range, he was really powerful. So some of those got nerfed. So his standing heavy punch, they have greatly increased the hurt boxes on this. So this move should be much easier to both interrupt and to whiff punish now. And perhaps an even bigger nerf was to his other heavy punch normal, crouching heavy punch. This has kind of been known to be a super busted anti-air. If you jump anywhere on screen, this move is going to smoke you. But this move has been nerfed. You can see you can still anti-air with it if you do it kind of early. If you have the hitbox active, you can anti-air, but it's going to take a lot more goated reactions to pull this off. And now if you wait till late and you try to anti-air, you are going to get smoked. So the upper body invincibility that this move used to have is completely removed, and now it is going to lose to jump-ins a lot more consistently. So yeah, I think probably this change is warranted, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I kind of want anti-airs to work in fighting games. I don't know, maybe just give other characters better anti-airs to bring them up to JP's level. I'm not sure. Just to me, it's like a major feel bad when the opponent jumps and you call out the jump and you anti-air them and you get smoked anyway. I don't know, just my opinion. And the other thing is, so a lot of these so-called dive kick normals in the game, like Luke jump heavy punch, Ken jump heavy punch is a lot like this. There's a few characters that have jumping moves that just reach like all the way down, and those have not been changed at all. So I don't know, jumps, I don't really feel like jumps need to be that good, especially considering this game has drive rush, which is, you know, kind of like a second jump anyway. It's kind of another way of skipping neutral and getting in, similar to a jump. So yeah, I don't really know about leaving these dive kick, faux dive kick normals in. I'm not crazy about that, but it is what it is, and that is definitely going to be a big nerf for JP. Another big nerf that JP got is to his amnesia. I think everyone probably knew that this was coming. This is probably the most complained about move in the entire game of SF6, and they really hurt this move a lot. So first up, damage scaling. This used to scale follow-up combos by 15%. Now it scales them by 60%, and it has an initial scaling value of 50%. So this move, you will not be doing very much damage at all off of this. So now, you know, if you do one of those patented long EX amnesia combos that JP has, you can see this is going to be really highly scaled and not do very much damage. That was for 3 meters, and before that would have done like 50%. So yeah, definitely a big nerf to EX amnesia. They also improved the amount of meter that the opponent generates when they parry it. So yeah, I would say between this and this, those were like some of the most complained about moves in JP's arsenal. The only one that really got away was down medium punch unchanged. I guess they figured that stand heavy punch will nerf his footsies enough that he still should have this move. So yeah, JP, they're strong nerfs, don't get me wrong, but I do think he'll probably still be pretty good. Like, overall, he still has really amazing normals. He still has really high damage combos, just not off EX amnesia anymore. But also this anti-air nerf hurts a lot too, so I don't know. He could end up getting knocked down a few tiers, but if you had to ask me, I would say he'll probably still be top 5, top 10-ish. He might just not be literally number 1 or number 2 in the game anymore. Speaking of characters with a ridiculous crouching medium punch, so Luke, this move did get nerfed on Luke. Definitely one of the best normals in the game. It now has 3 additional frames of recovery on whiff, so that's pretty serious. And it should be a little bit easier for the opponent to counter poke and whiff punish now. Just generally, the hitboxes are worse, the recovery is worse. They also nerfed his air flash knuckle. They increased the recovery on whiff. I guess they just don't want Luke to have this sort of like, you know, jump in and then bait your anti-air thing with this move. I guess that's the purpose of this. You know, before you would jump in, you would do this, their anti-air would whiff and you would get a punish. Now there's 7 extra frames of recovery, so I don't think that's really going to happen anymore. This move seems pretty bad on whiff now. They didn't change the charged version, but yeah, the uncharged version seems pretty awful, so I think this will mostly just be a combo move from now on. They also increased the hurt box on his super. I think the idea behind this is they don't want this super beating fireballs. Like most characters in the game, Luke's level 1 super is not fireball invulnerable. This is an intentional thing. They want fireballs to be a way to stop the opponent from using their reversals on you unless they spend more meter. But Luke had this property before where, like, yeah, it's not fireball invincible, but a lot of times you're still going to destroy the fireball with your super if it's not like completely on top of you on wake up. So this is just going to generally be harder to do now. I think in general you're going to get smoked by the fireball a lot more consistently, but if you have enough space, you can see you can still get the super to come out. So yeah, it's a little bit nerfed. This is definitely like one of the best level 1s in the game. It's very, very fast and it's invincible. So yeah, the fact that this could also beat fireballs a lot more before was pretty crazy. So I think that that's the intended nerf of increasing the hurt box on this, but you guys can let me know if you know something I don't about this nerf. Hit me up down in the comments, but I think that this is the reason why. All right, let's move on to the other kind of main villain of this game's season 1 meta, which has been Ken. So Ken got some somewhat sizable nerfs, but it doesn't seem like he got it quite as bad as JP. So they made his standing jab a little bit easier to counter poke, increased hurt boxes. So I guess just in general, pressure and poking with this move and trying to counter poke will be less effective. They also nerfed his throw loop, but not entirely. So Ken throw loop in the corner now is going to require some pretty difficult manual timing. Against 4-frame moves, you are going to need to time this very well, or you will get counter hit by the jab. But if you work really hard, you can see that you can get the throw loop. So yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this change. Like, top level play, they'll still be able to throw loop you, but I guess now there is much more of a risk of dropping it, so I guess that's the idea. But yeah, Ken does still have a corner throw loop like most of the cast. It's just now it's locked behind a little bit more execution. So that's an interesting one. And then finally, EX Air Tatsu, the trajectory has been changed quite a bit. If you can't tell, now this move really comes flying straight down. It does not have the same forward momentum it had before. So Ken kind of had this mix up before where it's like, okay, I can hit you on the front with the Ken dive kick, the jumping fierce, or I can go to the back and hit you with EX Tatsu, and it's kind of a cross-up mix-up. But that doesn't really seem to work anymore. You can cross up with this move, but you have to be standing so close that the opponent pretty much already knows that you're in cross-up range already. If you're outside of that range, you know, where it starts to be ambiguous, you're pretty much always going to hit on the front now with EX Tatsu. So that seems like a somewhat sizable nerf as well. So I would say, you know, Ken got 3 nerfs that are not completely massive, but they're not insignificant either. So I think Ken, Luke, and JP all definitely will be strong. They still have a lot of what makes them strong, but maybe they just won't be, like, by far the most picked characters in tournament anymore. So there were 3 characters that got some pretty significant nerfs, and I would say there are 2 characters that got some significant buffs. The first one is going to be Ryu. So for Ryu, most of the buffs were concentrated around his Hashogeki, quarter circle back punch. I think a lot of people, you know, we wanted to like this move, and in some ways it's a strong move, but considering it's like his one thing that sets him apart from the other Shotos, it's like his super unique move, it didn't seem that good before. So now the light version is only -3, used to be -4, and -3 is kind of the magic number because there's no 3-frame attacks in this game. So yeah, being -3, this move is completely safe now. And then the other big change is that the plus on block versions of this move, so the heavy version and the EX version, these are both plus. And now they actually leave you much closer to the opponent. They leave you in jab range. These used to push you out a lot further. So yeah, the potential for, you know, chipping and frame trap situations with these moves is much stronger now. Especially in burnout situations. When the opponent is burnt out, this is like a huge threat. This is going to be really, really hard for them to deal with. You can see it's pretty hard for the opponent to deal with this kind of pressure. Is like tight block strings all day. There's like nothing they can do about this if they are burnt out. So yeah, that seems really, really good. His chip damage is going to be really strong now, I think. And just in general, his pressure game off of Hashogeki should be a lot better. So I see that as a great change. He also got some more minor stuff like reduced hurt boxes on his level 1 super and his fireball. So it seems like they have kind of realized that, yeah, these are the moves that set Ryu apart, right? Ken is supposed to be a little bit stronger up close, but Ryu is supposed to be stronger from far away with the fireballs. So they buffed the fireballs, and then he's got this attack that really no other Shoto has. So they're leaning into that a little bit more and trying to bring out his unique aspects. So I appreciate that. I don't think Ryu is going to be a top tier all of a sudden, but he might kind of have that Aki factor where he can just randomly steal rounds if he gets you to the corner or if he gets you burnt out. So I like that a lot. You know, maybe a lot of people have made the comparison to Third Strike Ryu in this game, where he's a very explosive character that deals a lot of damage and has a lot of comeback factor. And yeah, I could see that becoming a little bit more true now with these changes to Hashogeki. So I'm a really, really big fan of those. And then the other character who got the most buffs, I think this was pretty expected, was Jamie. So Jamie, actually the only character to get a new move in this patch, kind of, off his forward throw. Now he has like a built-in drink follow-up. So that's pretty nice. You know, it's been a struggle for Jamie players to get these drinks, so that should help out a lot. They also buffed his level 1 super quite a bit. This was a pretty bad super before, I think. Now it's going to do a lot more damage in like every situation, and it gives a longer knockdown, so you can get better Okizeme afterwards. So yeah, now they're kind of making it so that base form Jamie, his level 1 now actually does damage. You don't need to get a bunch of drinks just to make Jamie feel like a more functional character, like a baseline character after he gets a couple drinks. Now he will hopefully be a little bit better at 0 drinks, partially thanks to that. Another one, this is such a no-brainer. I can't believe it took them this long to do this, but now his install super will now remember how many drinks you had before. So I had 2 drinks before. Before the patch, you lose all the drinks when this super ends, which is just shocking. Like, that is so bad. I can't believe that was ever in the game. But now it remembers how many drinks you had, and when the super ends, you go back to that many drinks. This is a no-brainer change. Thank you, Capcom. I can't believe it took this long. And yeah, for the most part, those are all the main changes that Jamie got. And again, I don't think this is going to rocket Jamie to top tier, but like these small little things will add up, man. Especially this one. I think this is probably the best. But also, you know, him getting this and actually being able to like pressure the opponent afterwards and do some real mix. Yeah, that's pretty good too. So yeah, again, it feels minor, but they're tweaking the dials that I think this could move Jamie up to being like a solid picked character. He's probably not going to be top tier, but he has a lot of potential, and I think this should help him realize some of that, even though, you know, the changes might seem pretty small on their own. So yeah, I'm not going to go over every single character. Most characters either didn't get changed or got some pretty minor changes. Chun-Li and DJ kind of got away with murder. They got some nerfs, but nothing like incredible. Zangief got a couple decent buffs, like he can do Lariat into 720 now. That's really cool. That'll help increase his combo damage off of jump-ins and stuff. They also buffed his anti-air super, so it should hit more consistently now. But yeah, as you can see, it still misses a lot, but it should at least be slightly more usable now and not just literally like the worst super in the game. So yeah, I appreciate that. Aki got a couple decent buffs that should help her a little bit. So yeah, there were minor things for most of the characters, but this is definitely not like an ultra groundbreaking patch that is going to completely upend the tier list. I think we're going to have to wait until after Evo for that. But let me know what you guys think. You think that the JP army is going to fall off? Are they going to need to start flipping burgers, or are they going to be good to go? I don't know. I don't think too much is going to change for the tier placements, but overall, I think I'm happy with the patch. I'm a little sad it took this long, but it is what it is. They want to let the game cook. And yeah, we're going to be cooking with some of these changes. And we have Ed, of course, who is going to help shake up the meta as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing people playing him. But that's going to be about it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Check out the full patch notes down in the description. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.